Let's do this. Are you ready for a comeback? Are you ready to fly? Are you ready for the moment? Get ready to ride. Calling all the fighters, calling on survivors. Are you up all nighters? We can take it higher. Let's do this. Can you feel the fire running through your veins? Now you're burning brighter, don't look away. Shout out to the legends, rising from the wreckage. Count down the seconds, it's our tour engines. Let's do this. I know we've got a long way to go. I know we've got a long road home. I know we've got a long way to go. Let's do this. Are you ready for a comeback? Are you ready to fly? Let's do this. Are you ready for the moment? Get ready to ride. Let's do this. Oh, you know we're gonna do this. Oh, you know we're gonna do this. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. It is time for the North-South Racing League once again. For Ghostfire Media, I'm Josh Laston. Back with me in the booth is Mr. Adam Wood. Adam, how you doing down here in SoCal to open up the season?
I mean, it's fantastic. The sun is setting tonight. These guys are going to have some great grip on this racetrack here. It's going to be a great short track racing here at the LA Coliseum.
And when you say short track, there absolutely is no way around the fact that this is a short track. This is 0.22 miles. And we're basically inside of a football stadium today.
Yeah, it's ridiculous what they were able to do and replicate and scale it out for iRacing, to get it done. Because, I mean, this track was only up for about a month and it got tore right back down. So they had to scale it out and try to replicate it here, which, I mean, it turned out fantastic.
And honestly, the racing is the best part for me. We're here in the street stocks. It's a normal length car, but it's a little bit narrower. I know, Adam, the two of us have been running here. We ran the Next Gen Cup cars, which is what everyone got to see at the very beginning of the year. We've run the Gander trucks, and you know what? These guys, with what we have in front of us tonight, it is going to be, in my mind, short track perfection.
And I love these cars for this track. I did a little bit of test running earlier on this track, and these cars actually handle pretty good on it. And these things are a tank. You can bounce off the wall if you come off a little bit too hot. And it really doesn't mess up the car. Yeah, it might give you a little bit of scrape there, but it's a tank. It keeps on going. Next gen, not so much. You're kind of screwed at that point.
Well, it's that composite body in a car that is made for people who have millions of dollars to throw around, whereas the street stock, this is your everyman's car. This is the kind of thing that you're going to go down to your local track, see guys on a Saturday night just out there having a great time, and just the people that love racing, not because it makes them money, but because they just want to go fast.
It gives them a lot, a little bit of entertainment for their lives. Get out there on a Saturday night, rough it up with some good old boys, and have some fun. And then, I mean, like I said, this is a tank. You might have some dents. You go back home, take a hammer, knock out the dents, and smooth it out as best as you can, and bring it back out the next Saturday night.
And this is where racing is at its absolute best. This is the style that, you know what, makes it to where the oval track racing, this is where people get started. This is where people spend their entire career, just because, you know what, you get to know everybody at the track. And honestly, as we look through the field here tonight, I'm not seeing too many new names as we start the 6th season of the North-South Racing League. But for everyone out there tonight that is new, we are going to be running the street stocks throughout the entirety of this season. A smattering of tracks. We're going to have a few, I think we have 2 dirt races on the calendar for the year, or for the season. We've got a road course thrown in there, and the biggest thing to make note of is this season is going to run through November. So we've got quite a few months of great racing. I'm happy to be back being able to broadcast for these guys, because last season was absolutely fantastic, and seeing a lot of returning faces excites me.
See about 3 to 4 new names I hear. So it's good to see a lot of these guys come back and going to put on a great show. We know who they are. You've been watching us last season. You got to see everybody, and then we got 3 or 4 new names here. Going to come out here and try to challenge these guys that have been running in this series for a while.
And the one thing to note, and this is right now the fastest in practice, is Mr. Matt Dula, who we're looking at right here. That Sundrop car, that is going to confuse me for quite a while, because that's a new paint job from what we got to see last year. Dante Curtis right there, that's about what I would be expecting. And right now, just because I have to highlight him, Mr. Ryan Johnson, last season's champion. That's the same paint that I would expect. Oh, and as we're looking here, there's only 14 pit stalls and we have 24 drivers tonight, so people are quite literally sharing pit stalls. And iRacing, as we're focused on Ryan Johnson there, it really does not like it when 2 cars are in the exact same place.
Yeah, it freaks out. But hey, if you time it, you cars can leave the pits at the same time, and it can run inside of each other for quite a few laps.
I'm pretty sure, Adam, the 2 of us have tried to stay within that clipping zone for an entire lap, and I think pretty much every time we ruin it by the time we get like halfway out of the pits.
Brandon and I think we were able to do it probably, I think 2 or 3 laps that they were at Rockingham. And we were just like solely on the outside groove, getting out of everybody's way. But yeah, it's fun times whenever you try to find those little hidden gems to have fun with. And we got Justin Anderson says, November, that's a whole lot of Adam and Josh harassment. Yay.
And I would expect no differently. But the one thing I do have to make note of just before we get ourselves to qualifying, none of this that we have going on tonight or throughout the course of this season would be possible without 3 specific groups. 5 Star Realty Group is a longtime sponsor and supporter of the North-South Racing League, and they're back for another season. J&G Hardwood Flooring, another fantastic and long-standing supporter of the North-South Racing League, and Kelly's Custom Engraving. They have been providing plaques and some form of trophy for the winners of races like tonight. Tonight is one of the showdown events. It's a longer race. We've got 200 laps of this track tonight. And one thing that they actually have that's new for this season is these showdown events are going to be double points races.
Yeah. And I think another thing that is going to be different from last season that we broadcasted is the inverts.
Oh, that is a great point. Last season, the inverts were predetermined. This season, we're going to be the ones bringing you the inverts. Once we get through qualifying to make sure that nobody can sandbag trying to put their lap times where they need to be to get the best start for the race. Well, after everybody's already run their qualifying laps like we're about to start, we're going to spin a wheel and we're going to set the invert going into the warm-up for the feature event. And as we get moving, right now, first person out on track is Mr. Dan Janjanin, and he's going to go ahead and get himself across the line to be the first person to qualify for this new season of the North-South Racing League. And let's see what that first hot lap's going to be able to do. Obviously, that is going to put him at the top of the list, but no, actually, Robbie Clavey in the 73 is going to get himself to the top of the board, and then Jeff Bergener manages to tie his time. But as things are going, Matt Cook gets himself to the top of the board, and then behind him, now in third, is one of the new names, and actually moved down to fourth the exact second. And I'm going to say it's Adam. Yeah, he's just Adam.
Yep, yeah.
He's the other Adam.
He's the other Adam.
Oh, and shock of shocks, Dante Curtis gets himself to the top of the board.
We're going to definitely have to go and look at Dan Janjanin's new sponsor for the year. Go on board once we get done here, maybe through the heat races.
Honestly, the sad thing is it actually is a proper website.
It is.
But
yeah.
Let's go ahead and join one of the new. This is Gage Killam. Hope it's probably pronounced Killam. But he is one of the new members from what I'm seeing, and let's see. Let's go on board with, along with Justin Rigsby, and that puts him up into fifth. Brian Hacker looks like we catch him right after he spins. Is currently in fourth. Mr. Adam Gable running in the 91, getting his first lap underway. And we'll see what he's got on this minuscule track for us. And that's going to put him in 11th. And he's off track. No, Travis Hoffler is going to go ahead and run through. And actually out on track, the 47 of Rodney Huntoon. I'm going to have to get corrected on a lot of names.
Yes.
And he is currently running in sixth after his second lap, and will also join the lone Canadian in the group, Mike Alexander, who is a new member of the North-South Racing League, gets himself up into third. And let's take a look. As last year's champion, Mr. Ryan Johnson, is going to go ahead and get his laps underway. And right now, that puts him up into third. And the only person who has not run a lap at this point is Mr. Matt Dula. And the question is he going to put in a lap? Because we're pretty much right up against it. And we'll have to wait and see.
He's saying right now he kissed the wall. He's already ran his 2 laps. And he messed up on both of them, so.
All right. That is one of the problems here is with the strict qualifying scrutiny that they have set up. That truly makes it to where if you tap those walls on your qualifying laps, there's not much you can do.
And I mean, the way these corners are to get a really great run, I mean, you just have to sling it all the way out to the wall. And if you look at these straightaways, they're not straight. They kind of bow out just a little bit, so it kind of helps you, but you're still propelling yourself really far off the corner there and going towards the wall to maximize the speed. And just one little tiny, like he said I could hear him, he said one little kiss there ruined that run for him.
And that is it right now. We currently have our grid set, but now we've got ourselves 3 minutes of warm-up for these guys to go ahead, get themselves out there, get a little more practice after qualifying, and get themselves ready for next to no space and a whole lot of no opportunities to pass.
Alrighty, well, good thing that they already know. The drivers already know the invert was at 3. Just listen to the race broadcast.
I mean, I'm sure there's quite a few people out there I'm sure with all of these guys looking to get out on track, we're going to see a whole lot of chaos. Talking to the admins earlier, we have some people thinking that it's only going to take 3 laps when we have everyone out there on track before the leader is catching lap traffic.
Yeah, it's so small, and these guys are going to be pushing it. You're going to see a lot of self spins. I'm assuming that's what I'm going to go with. You're trying to push it everything you can because you need that speed that you can get off the corner, and that's where the self spins are going to happen.
Well, I have a feeling there's going to be a little bit of extra love in this situation because just from what I'm seeing out here on track, there's a lot of different paths that are being taken. So we're watching Ryan Johnson right now, and okay, that time he just decided to plow some traffic. But some people are doing later apexes. Some people are just hugging that bottom the entire time to where someone may have that earlier breaking point than the rest, and they'll get a little bit of the tip.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a little bit later apex to get a more straighter turn in versus hugging that inside line from afar, yeah, that breaking points are way different.
Yeah. As some people do break a little bit later. They take people out on track and bring out cautions. Or not, because it's a road course.
Or you just shove somebody out in the middle of nowhere. It's cool.
For anyone, Adam and I last night, he decided to ram me turn 2 at Road America, and
I mean, I didn't do it 8 tires is better than the 4 situation than you know I've had with you, so it's cool. It's cool.
One time.
That's what I've only done it one to you.
That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
As these guys are, as per usual, as we're wrapping up the warm-up, they're just putting a lot down of rubber down on the track where rubber doesn't necessarily need to be, and then we have one person still running laps.
Admin said, "Be careful! Don't get disqualified for having some fun in the infield."
I don't think it's going to be on the infield.
Matt Dula just jumps the wall there.
And why not?
Hey, he backs over the wall.
As we are ready to go ahead and get ourselves started. So here we go. The starting positions, and note that starting positions will be different.
Only person changes is Ryan Johnson and Dante Curtis. They're gonna instead of starting first and third, Dustin Shepard gets to stay where he's at.
Yeah, that is true. So our top qualifier is Dante Curtis. Second is Dustin Shepard. Third, Ryan Johnson. Fourth, Mike Alexander. Fifth, Randy Nichols. Sixth, Brian Hacker. Seventh, Justin Rigsby. Eighth is Rodney Huntoon. Ninth, Matt Cook. 10th, Shane Loveridge. 11th, Josh Nelms. And 12th is Josh Mathis.
Alrighty, so 13th will be Gary Eshin. 14th is Will Eastman. 15th will be Adam Gables. 16th will be the third Adam. So I forgot about Adam. So it's the third Adam. 16th is Gage Kellum. 17th is Matt Pelletier. Then we got Jesse Womack.
You're off a little bit, sir.
Yeah, Robbie Clavey will be 20th. Jeff Bergener will be 21st. 22nd is Travis Hoffler. 23rd will be Dan Janin. And starting last will be Matt Dula in the 24.
And that is going to go ahead and set us up for a fantastic race as the lights are off on the pace truck that's a Silverado, but not really a Silverado, because I don't think they wanted to pay for that. But it has got itself off the track, and we are racing as Dustin Shepard and Ryan Johnson, they were neck and neck going in, but definitely not out of the turn, as we're going to see as Dante Curtis, who was in third, is probably that low line is going to be where everyone needs to be today.
Yeah, you're going to have to guard it. You're going to be trying to look in your rearview mirror, see if there's anybody near you that's going to be able to drop in underneath you, and you're going to guard that inside line with your life.
And there's absolutely no passing opportunities unless somebody manages to give you that opportunity. And we have a yellow flag. Hey, we made it 4 laps. It's better than any other race that I've been in here. And let's go ahead and go to the blimp as we're waiting for everybody to go ahead and get themselves straightened out, because there's a whole lot of chaos and nowhere to go.
That's exactly what happened in that wreck.
All right, let's take a quick look and see what happened. Jesse Womack was the first one. Goes in, gets a little bit of a tag, gives a little tag, and did I miss something? Oh, there it is.
It took a minute to get there.
Gets into the 7, and then everybody at the back here, as we're sitting and watching the 14 and the 2 just kind of sit there, have fun, Now we're getting ourselves back moving. There go the leaders on the way through, and yeah, not really much that can be done in that situation. But something we will have to make note of. These guys are not going to be able to make it the entirety of this race on a fuel run. Everybody's going to have to make that one trip in.
And I wonder if the tire's going to play in where you're going to try and do it. I mean, because I don't think we're going to go caution-free for the next 150 laps before they have to pit. You know, so coming like lap 125 or something like that. So, you know, how often will these guys pit for tires? Because you can only come in and probably just do right sides or left sides only without going a lap down.
Especially if you're at the back, it is going to have to be that kind of calculated gamble. But honestly, my experience running here at the Coliseum, it's less about the tire wear and more about the tire temperature. There's not enough time on these laps after you push it hard into the corners. There's not enough time for you to be able to cool down the tires between, so you're just gonna get them heated.
Yeah, you're gonna have to let up a little bit earlier, trying to cool the tires off so you don't have as much brake going into it. But I mean, that causes, you know, the guys behind you to kind of check up on you. So if there's people near you, you can't really let up too early to try, you know, save a little bit of heat.
No, there's not really that much of an opportunity. On the bright side, these street stocks, the Hoosiers that they run, they're a little less susceptible to the temperature changes as the Goodyears that many of the other cars run. But still, it's going to be a problem, at least the deeper we get into this race and the more green flag laps that are run.
Alrighty, well, the pace car should be coming in next lap after this. They're discussing the lineup, making sure everybody's at where they're at right now. Kind of, you know, hectic right here, trying to get everybody to line up in their correct places. So let's see here. Pace truck lights just went off, so we'll be going green.
And we are off, and I wanted to use the blimp to where we could kind of see that little bit of a bump that Ryan Johnson was getting from Dustin Shepard, and we made it 2 corners.
Yep.
So one thing that we are going to have to note through the course of this is there is an incident limit that we have within this league, so 14. And the thing to note about that is pretty much if you make car contact and it brings out a yellow flag, it's 4. If you hit another car after that, it's 4. There's no blame involved with it. You can't sit there and say, I didn't cause it, so I don't get anything. iRacing does it to where if you get car contact, 4x.
Yep, if it's your fault, or not, you get a 4x.
So
I use solo spin, it's a 2x. Wall tap, a 2x. So it adds up pretty quickly here.
All right, as we're above watching Justin Rigsby, and it's just a stack up on the inside. One car gets a little bit of a tag, and the whole field goes around. So, oh, and Dan Janjanin, he has 8 now. And the best part about this is we get to see the crumpled sheet metal on some of these cars. I wouldn't be surprised if we got to see some as we get through the tail end of this race if we're missing body panels. But right now, that 14 of Jesse Womack is probably one of the best to take a look at that crinkled inside.
So Justin, I think I might have got a 4X, but Josh might have got a little bit more because after I pushed him, he flew into Brian, and then they flew into a wall on the outside at the end of turn
Still
two.
only a
So
4X.
okay. So it was a lot of chaos there at turn two that I created between three people.
And one of them's a teammate, and the other one you have to put up with on your Mondays.
Yep.
As the lights on the pace truck are off, and we are getting ourselves green, and Ryan Johnson gets an amazing jump to get himself out in front of Dustin Shepard. But again, we're seeing that accordion effect on that low line as Dante Curtis is trying to get himself up around the Canadian of Mike Alexander. And as we have seen throughout the course of the last season, Dante Curtis is not a slouch on these short tracks. As we see him just holding that perfect line, he's able to slide himself up in front. But Randy Nichols is going to try to get himself up in that 69 Cintas car, and the 75 just going to drop back because he's not really got many other options right now.
I mean, he has a gap behind him right between him and Brian Hacker. So I mean, I would try to do it because you're not going to make that outside pass work. I would do it. I think he's going to be able to drop in right there in front of Brian Hacker before he got to him. So that's good for him. So, you know, he's learning things of who the drivers are here. Your first race with them, so you got to learn who you can trust and who you can't.
As we're getting watching a few laps tick off, and we're still seeing a little bit of side-by-side, but it's starting to go away right now. As we're seeing Gary Eschen in the 23 was side-by-side, now passed by the 47, and moving his way up, got himself 8th place right now. And there's from that side-by-side, there's about a 1 second gap up to 7th place. And caution. So let's go ahead and see what happened. This was towards the back of the field, and I'm glad I got that before everything else started up. And that is the 83, hard on the brakes going into the corner, catches a little bit of that rumble strip, which gets rid of your traction. And self-spin.
And he didn't make any other contact, so that's pretty good for him.
That's the 2X that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's better than a 4X. And the rotors are red hot. That's one good thing. When the sun goes down here, you'll be able to see these rotors are glowing here because they're hard on the brakes.
And luckily, iRacing has yet to implement the brake fade into these cars that like they have in the next gens. I understand it's more realistic, but that makes it to where I'm worse.
These guys, I'm wondering if anybody's going to try to dive in here. Right now, the only thing I've seen is Robbie Clavey, Jeff Berginger, Jesse Womack, and Jeff Mathis are the only people that's taken to pit road so far.
And all of those were involved in incidents earlier to where Robbie Clavey is currently up towards the front of these guys. And you know what? He's out there. Car looks fine. I vaguely do remember him being involved in an incident. But at the end of the day, there's a chance with all of the caution laps that we have going right now that we may not need to see pit stops as lights on the pace truck are off. So this next time by, we should be back to racing. And oh, shock, the top three are back to where they started. As we are off, Ryan Johnson gets a great jump once again. The 89 drops down to cover off Dante Curtis, but the 69 is going to do what he can to try to keep him down and pinned on that low line as long as he can, because there's nowhere for him to be able to drop in behind him. As we see the 75 throw one down on the inside and gets a little squirrely on exit, but that's to be expected on this track.
I mean, when you haven't, we're starting blank, but when you haven't run the inside line with somebody on the outside of you, it's a little bit different because you can't float all the way out in your exit, and you know, you give up a little bit there. As we see, Randy Nichols was able to get in front of them and collect that spot back.
As I'm going to jump back in the field right now, as we're seeing Matt Cook and Rodney Huntoon getting a little bit racy as the 47 is trying to hold on that outside, but Matt Cook's able to get clear. But now we have Gary Eschen working around on that inside, followed quickly by Adam Gable. And once there's that clearance, there's not much that can be done, as we had Jeff Bergener look like he crashed, entered pit lane, but we managed to not get a caution out of that. So we're going to jump back a little bit right now as we're seeing Matt Dula and Travis Hoffler going side by side, and Travis Hoffler is doing a good job of battling on that outside.
Yeah, I think he's finding a line to make it actually worthwhile right now. And better get a good run off of it. Matt Dula, struggles there. He gets a little wiggly off the corner. But he's going to do the crossover move.
That beautiful crossover. Gets himself down on that low line, and that slide job right there is the kind of stuff you only see at your local dirt track on a Saturday night. But Travis Hoffler gets the move done, gets himself up into 11th, and is going to set his sights on trying to get into that top 10. As we're starting to see lap traffic play a role as Dan Janjanin in that number 2. He's sticking to that outside line, giving everybody that low line. But there's only so much he can do. And as we jump up here, I want to go and point one thing out. Jump onto that gearbox of the 75. That is what a 1.5 seconds looks like on this track.
Right now, he's trying to go there. We get the leader just past Gage. Put him a lap down, so the rest of the guys, second and third right now, are trying to get by him. Get everybody up there what's going on. But yeah, this great camera view here, be able to see these guys, what's going on. This primarily low bank flat track here going on.
As we'll actually jump on board with the visor cam and the Kelly custom engraving on board. This is what it looks like for our leader. He is seeing a ton of extra traffic out there in front of him, and this is what 24 people looks like on a quarter mile. And it's tight as we see a little bit of a scare there from Jeff Mathis in the 6th, as I do very much appreciate the Venom helmet that Ryan is running.
You can see just a little bit of the rearview mirror he's got going.
But we're starting to spread out and just watch some laps tick away as Ryan Johnson in the lead has a little bit of clear air in front of him, but not all that much. As we can see, he's got about half a straightaway before you start seeing people, as there is the 2 of Dan Janjanin coming around once again. But we've got 50 laps in the books, and we have Ryan Johnson leading us for the entirety of this race so far, after being in the lucky position to get inverted to the front of the field, and has not relinquished.
Yeah, right now, you know, Dustin Shepard started second, in second. I was able to get clear Dante Curtis, who's in third right now. So Dante did get the pole, but with the invert of only 3, he, you know, didn't turn out terrible for him. He only moved back basically 1 spot in the grid because he started 1 spot back.
As where I look out into the comments, Mr. Rigsby, thanks for watching after everything that happened out there. But I think it's less that they figured out how to not hit each other, but they finally got themselves single file. And I'm going to blame you for this one because we have caution. Let's take a quick look and see what happens as Jesse Womack out there. Now, just
single car.
And he just went in hot, and that looks like the back end broke loose under braking. And yeah, if a car is pointed the wrong direction, that's going to be what happens. So we are on lap 57 right now. Adam, do you think we have had enough caution that these guys may not need to pit tonight?
I mean, yeah, saving laps is going to be somewhat easy here if we get more cautions, because I mean, 12-second laps here, or sorry, 13/14-second laps here. You can save a lot of laps here, but do you want to take the gamble now or later? I mean, I guess you can wait till about lap 130, 140 with all these caution laps to try and figure out if you want to take the gamble to go all the way to the end.
Honestly, if I'm in the front, if I'm in the top 5, I'm going to roll the dice and not give up the track position. If I'm anywhere 10th or back, yeah, I'm probably going to come in and at least get a splash of fuel. Maybe not change the tires, because, yeah, there's no hope of getting that one back.
You think you would go with right sides only? Or just fuel?
Maybe. I would, depending on the amount of that was needed, as we've actually got Justin Rigsby out there saying need at least 3 gallons to make it all the way. I would lean towards the splash and go. Not even take the time for the tires. Track position is too important on this track. As we can see, Ryan Johnson gets himself the lucky position, getting moved up to the front, and then hasn't been passed.
I mean, he's lucky he gets to have his own jump there. Dustin Shepard, he's working really well with them and be able to time these jumps, so he's able to clear Dante, and Dante's not able to stick to the back bumper of Ryan Johnson to pass Dustin here on any of these restarts so far.
No, but as he is off immediately, the 89 gets a good run, and that is the 69 getting an amazing run on the outside. And we have seen that Randy Nichols, he has made that outside line work, and he's trying to get right up on that bumper of the 89 to see if he may be able to fight off Dante Curtis, get himself up into that third. Ooh, a little bit of contact, and that's going to make it to where, no, he's not done fighting yet.
They're fighting pretty hard though. Randy Nichols sideways coming off that corner. I mean, we got 64 lap old tires here. They're still trying to work it. We got Brian Hacker just a few back, Gary Eschen he's working his way up through the field. He's normally up in the top 5 every week.
And he's up 7 spots, but right now, that hard charger, that is Mr. Matt Dula up 13 spots as we go to him right as he's sliding it out of turn 4 and trying to make those moves. He's almost made his way up into the top 10 after starting at the back from a rough qualifying session. And now he's going to try to get himself up to Travis Hoffler, and we're starting to see that bit of separation that made it to where we got ourselves a little bit longer of running the last time around. But Ryan Johnson up here in the lead is starting to catch the first of that lap traffic, which looks like that may be the 75 of Mike Alexander. We'll have to take a quick look and see what's happening as he's coming up in the onboard rather than seeing the hands. We'll go here onto the roll bar to see what's going on. And honestly, this is one of the tracks that I honestly love seeing from the driver's seat.
I mean, you see the way I was talking about earlier. They basically get slung to the outside wall. They hug the inside and then maximize the speed all the way to the outside wall there. I'm surprised I don't hear more people slapping that outside wall trying to maximize their speed.
I've been a nice guy and I haven't been on camera angles close enough to where we get to hear that. Because I'm sure if we were paying close enough attention, we would have seen a whole lot of sparks going on. Because, yeah, these guys got to take every millimeter of space that they possibly can to maximize their speed as they're going through. And I want to jump back here. This is currently going to be the battle for 5th. Brian Hacker has Gary Eschen every turn right there on the bumper, trying to find just that little bit of space. The 11 is doing a late apex, which means he's not exactly covering that low line, to where if Gary Eschen can get a slightly better run off the corner, there may be a nose poked underneath that rear wheel.
You know, I think Gary needs to get a little bit later of a corner entry and try to beat him off the corner here. The way the Brian Hacker's line is right now, you got to do something different.
And we're starting to see, we're getting one of those longer runs right now, that those that push their tires early in the run is, ooh, we're going to jump back here as Matt Dula and Mike Alexander are going side by side. This is the battle for 11th. The 75 gets past Matt Dula, and I'm not 100% certain that that 17 Sundrop car is going to take that very lightly.
These guys are out there battling hard. Every spot counts for these guys.
And that's one of the best parts about this track is, yeah, it may not afford the most passing opportunities, but we're talking about cars that are made to survive a little bit of contact. Don't want to see anybody out there getting turned, but I mean, a little bit of a nudge is to throw them off their game. It's what this kind of racing is made for.
Yeah, Randy Nichols, I'm watching him, and Dante. Their right sides are beat up just a little bit. Randy Nichols is pushing a little bit too much, corner after corner here. He's giving her all she's got.
Well, let's go ahead and take a quick look right there on the side. It's part of the joys of handling this digitally is, yeah, there's a little bit of
Love.
messed up paint right there. Let's go ahead and go to the same shot of Randy Nichols as he pushes the camera inside of the wall. And yeah, there's a little bit more deformation right there. As, yeah, these guys are pushing hard, but now that we've got quite a few more laps under our belt, we're seeing more people spreading out. Not all that close, but of course, as I say that, I start to see the 71 of Matt Dula close in on Adam Gable, trying to get himself back up into that top 10.
He's doing his best and trying to find different lanes here to work it. And looks like he was able to get by a few other people here. Matt Dula is winging his rear end. Get wicked loose off the corner there.
You don't need the right rear at all.
No, not at all, man. We're at laps 91 of 200. We're almost at the halfway mark here. So these tires are taking a beating.
And again, I don't know if anybody out there on track did a long enough run to know if these tires are going to survive the entirety of this race. I'm hoping they will. And
Well,
then there's that little devil inside of me that's kind of hoping it won't.
I mean, will it survive? And even if these guys are trying to push it to 200, I mean, I think there's a lot less cautions now. These guys are really spread out. The top four are kind of broken away from the field.
I mean, we've seen that earlier, but the biggest thing to take a look at is right now, Dustin Shepard has about a second over Dante Curtis. And the worst part for me as a driver in this situation is I'm looking at the distance that the cars in front of me, or in this case behind me, and thinking that's not 1 second, that's like 0.3. But because this track is so short and so relatively slow, because these guys are basically hitting about 75 miles an hour, that's a massive gap.
Huge gap there. It's going to be hard to overcome unless a lot of mistakes will happen.
All right, had to jump back here as this is Mike Alexander taking over 8th from Matt Cook. And this is an amazing drive. He went into the pit lane at lap 58. Definitely took 4 tires and fuel. And yeah, those new tires are starting to show.
Yeah, he's coming through the field just a little bit. He's able to, he's not overdriving the car right now, so he's able to kind of conserve and pick and choose where he wants to go.
As he is looking to pick off the 47, who's doing everything in his power to try to keep right up on that bumper of Gary Eschen. And I think the 75 has done his homework, to where he's realizing that maybe hitting that apex a little bit later, going wide on corner entry and trying to get the car straightened up as much as he can to get that run out of the corner may not be the fastest lap time, but as you're trying to get yourself a nose underneath that car in front of you, especially with better tires, there's another pass done and moved up to 7th.
We got the leader out here. We got 13 people out on the lead lap as of right now, and the leader just keeps picking them off and lapping them.
And there is nothing that these guys are going to be able to do, because again, it's a short lap. We're talking, we aren't even above 15 seconds. The best lap of the night was Dustin Shepard at a 14.04. and we still haven't even gone up to 14 3/4. But we are starting to see Ryan Johnson have that gap closed down, and Dustin Shepard's looking racy, and Dante Curtis is starting to come into that picture as well.
My mind is, what are these guys thinking for fuel? I know he's sitting there, got somebody covering up his rearview mirror, but let's see, was it 130, 140 straight without cautions? These guys had probably, what, 5, 6 cautions so far. I don't know if that's enough fuel to save it to the end. So when will you pit? Will you try to do it closer to now, or wait till later so it's just a smaller fuel run?
I 100% am of the mindset, run it until you can't run it anymore. Hope for that caution, as these guys are hitting lap traffic once again, and that is going to possibly shrink the gap. But both Ryan Johnson and Dustin Shepard, they are getting themselves around the lap traffic with relative ease. But I got to get myself back here, as we're seeing the 75, the 23, and the 11 just in a line. These guys are separated by under a second, and the 47 is also joining the party, and we're starting to see everyone being held up by, it looks like, Brian Hacker, who's maybe a little bit slower, but these guys are only about 7/100ths off the leader's lap times right now.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what the 75 can do. He's got a little bit in the fresher right side tires. What if he could get clear of Gary and Brian Hacker right there? Will he be able to close the gap after that?
Well, he's got about 4.5 seconds right now to be able to get up to 4th place of Randy Nichols, and then about 1.5 seconds to get up to Dante Curtis in this battle up towards the front.
So he also pitted on lap 58. Right now, before that, we have about between 130 to 140-ish on fuel. He might can make it to the end.
I would say definitely can make it to the end, because we did have one extra caution since that lap 58. But again, we're starting to get another long green flag run. Our top 3 closed in to about 1 second between them. Dante Curtis managed to close up that gap. He's showing that he is fantastic on fresh tires. And then, sure enough, as we talk about that one, we'll go on board with Mr. Randy Nichols, and he's closing down that gap to where that's under 1 second to the front 4.
Yeah, he's been right there hanging with these guys. He just got a little love tap there again.
That's
but he's been hanging.
Curse.
He's been hanging there all night long. He just, can't close the gap.
I'm getting out of his car and gonna focus on someone else for a second, because I 100% take all of the blame for those laps. We'll jump back here in the battle for 5th place, because these guys right now, this is the battle on track. It is 5 cars deep, led by the 11 of Brian Hacker. The gap is expanding in the front. Will I say that 100% Brian is holding these guys up? No, because I haven't got to see the pace. But definitely this group is going to start to come under pressure. They're about 1/3 of a lap back from our leaders. Or actually, no, from 2nd place. And I got to take a quick look Matt Dula enters the pits. It says that he crashed, but I have a feeling that was just pit entry.
That was pit entry.
Because, yeah, you basically have to slam on the brakes to be able to get in. And this is a brilliant view for that. That, yeah, you're pretty much
hooking
coming in at the steering lock that these will provide. So Matt Dula is the first taker on fuel, lap 129, and he took all tires. I actually lied. Mike Alexander took right sides. It's been so long since we broadcast that I forgot it's about 33-ish seconds to get all 4 tires changed, whereas it's 22 or 20-ish for a single side. But those right sides on this track and these cars, if you can keep it under control, it's the right move.
Yeah, I mean that's the one that you're going to overheat the most. You're going to be your right side. You're going to overheat your right front on the entry and your right rear on the exit. Your lefts, they're going to take their beatings, but not as bad as the right side. So, you know, it was a great call from Mike Alexander to go ahead and put right sides on right there. I'm not sure if he lost anything in that one or if he just had to go in the pits, and while he was there, he just got it. So we'll see exactly what happens here if he can make some ground up. But Randy Nichols now is inside the pit road. He's moved in there to go ahead and get some fuel. Let's see if he grabs some tires.
Honestly, I like that move from him. It really looks like these guys, we are going to stay on caution free for a little while here as we see Matt Dula working to get himself unlapped ever so slightly. He's currently running in 15th and has a lot of work to keep himself from going down another lap, but those fresh tires going to make a world of difference. But our leaders right now, the gap between Dante Curtis and Brian Hacker is a half a lap.
Yeah, right now we have Randy. I'm watching Randy Nichols, and he has a clean track. So if he's able to, you know, put down some good laps right now after coming out of the pit road here, he's got a lot of open space for him to do that.
And definitely his pit crew did not take time to hammer out any dents.
No
tape. He is just right back out there, and definitely he is putting down the fastest laps out on track. He's about a quarter of a second faster than the next best, which is Matt Dula. If these guys at the front, they have to pit, he is definitely in the exact right spot that he needs to be.
I mean, he shortcutted him, gets out there, has a lot of open space for him. Look at the leader right now. He's like jam-packed right now with lap cars in front of him. And maybe the guy right in front of him, maybe Gage will, you know, let him by because he's multiple laps down. But the 91 of Adam Gable's on the lead lap. He's going to fight. And so will every single other person. They're going to fight as they come to him. So they're losing time being behind this traffic.
And that's one of the things with this kind of short track. Yeah, we're going to... Oh, as we see our leader tag the 91. On the bright side, it was into the pits, but that's going to give the 89 a little bit of confidence to try to throw one in. Can't quite get the move done, but we're starting to see that 69 use those fresh tires, get himself around the 89 in second place, and he is on the charge. We are seeing Randy Nichols try to do what he can to get himself back up onto the lead lap, and honestly, well, looks like he's going to be able to do it, getting a great run coming out. The 38 closes it off. The 69 goes around the outside, and our leader is in.
Man, that is a hell of a turn there that these guys have to do to try and do it. Try to maximize the time without losing too much there. But he's like, I'm going to have to pit. Come in now. I see Randy Nichols just blowing my doors off. Yeah, I need some tires.
As Gary Eshin goes in with him. And these guys right now, Brian Hacker has moved his... Did Brian Hacker just crash? Yeah, we're starting to see everybody make their way into the pits. And yeah, we're just, I would assume, seeing everyone realize that it's... Ooh, nope, that was him probably trying to get into the pits. Just misjudging.
Yeah.
So right now, the 89 of Dustin Shepard yet to pit, keeping his streak alive, and of course, right as I say it. So we're seeing the original undercutter, Mike Alexander, will be taking over the lead of this race. Pit under caution. Probably got everything that he needed to make it to the end of this race. And it's looking like that may have been the perfect call.
See, we got Will Eastman's about 5 seconds back from him. He's got to pit though. He has to pit.
So, is there a reasonable chance that Mike Alexander, at a point in this race, is going to be the lone person on the lead lap?
Heck of a way to come in for your first race here is to lap the whole entire field due to fuel strategy.
And you can't blame him. It's a brilliant play.
And I mean, if he has to pit, I would wait till later in case a caution came out. I mean, he's got the whole entire field lap. Caution comes out, you know, everybody else will take a wave around whenever, you know, he goes and gets 4 fresh set of tires and everything else.
Well, and right now he's doing a reasonable job kind of holding up the field, keeping our previous leaders off of the lead lap, but both Ryan Johnson and Randy Nichols get themselves around. But at this point, obviously, they're a full lap back. They're going to have to go around all the traffic that is between them. And we've got 43 laps.
It's going to take a little bit to do it, but I mean, they are running almost a half a second lap faster than what he's running right now.
It's a quarter of a second. That was kind of thrown off by the fact that they were running different lines. But right now, with that last lap, it's about 2/10. To where that's a lot to make up in that time frame. And if those kind of times stick, yeah, this is Mike Alexander's to lose.
I think Ryan Johnson is trying his hardest to get by Randy Nichols, because I mean, he has 14 lap newer tires and wants to get by him and use those tires up to try and cover this distance if Mike Alexander can go the distance.
I would assume, because we're seeing most everybody, it was around lap 41, 47 that they decided to dive in. I don't know if that was out of necessity or if that was more, let's at least go in early enough to make sure that I'm going to be able to get the most out of my tires. But the fact that nobody that is currently out on track waited longer than lap 154, it could be scary for Mike Alexander.
All right, so they've already taken off a full second off of them. We are at 35 laps to go.
And they will be quickly ticking off. But if we look behind, we see that blue car, Dante Curtis. he's starting to come out into the view, but he's now the first car a lap down.
Not where he wants to be tonight, being in fourth, being a lap down, but if he's going to be a lap down, at least he's the lucky dog right now. And I don't see the leader lapping anybody else. He's not going to catch Ryan Johnson or Randy Nichols right now. So, you know, he's going to be in the catbird seat for a while. Dustin Shepard's about a second or so, about half a second back from him.
And as we've shown earlier, that half second is massive. But right now, just jumping on board, it almost looks like Ryan Johnson is trying to push Randy Nichols into a mistake.
I mean, he's trying his best. I mean, I think Randy Nichols is holding him back just a little bit. You know, Ryan Johnson's had the dominant car all night long so far, and Randy Nichols was right there in that group, but he's always trailing him. Not by much, but he was. So having 14 lap fresher tires, I know Ryan Johnson wishes he was in front of him, and there he goes.
There's the nose down below, and he's showing the age of those tires. It could have been coordinated, because at the end of the day, if I'm going to follow somebody, as we see a little bit of sparks fly from the 69 there, but if I'm going to want to follow somebody, I'm going to want to follow someone fast. And honestly, we're closing in on 25 to go. If somebody's going to catch that lead car, I'm going to want it to be the fastest one. I'm going to want him to be the one to split all of the lap traffic for me.
I mean, they are teammates there, and they are going to work together. And if he can't catch him, he's hoping his teammate can, and we'll hopefully track him down and try and get the win for this team.
I mean, it's about 0.2 of a second. We've got 25 laps to go. And I'm going to make a quick jump back here as Dustin Shepard is currently under pressure.
Dante Curtis just gave the race leader a little bit of a shove right there. Gave him a little love tap coming out of the corner.
You're going to make me do this, aren't you?
It's probably going to happen again.
But I mean, in all honesty, it's
he gave him the go ahead. He gave him the go ahead on the radio to go ahead and go buy him.
I was gonna say that's self-preservation right there. If I'm in that situation, I know you have better tires, almost 100 lap newer tires, and somebody that is as confident as a Dante Curtis. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and let you do it before you throw one in and ruin everybody's night.
All right, so the lead has shrunk about another 4 seconds. We're down to 8.5 second lead right now for Mike Alexander as we're closing at 20 laps to go.
And part of that shrinking gap was dealing with a Dante Curtis. And especially right now, our leader is going to be truly just, it's going to be lap traffic that's going to be catching. It's not going to be anything more than that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he is able to clear these lap traffic. The lap cars are, you know, we'll get out of the way for the race leader because we're in the closing laps right now, and so hopefully they're able to do that. He has a smooth sailing through these lap cars.
And honestly, I'm gonna let most of them by me as quickly as I can because we've got 16 laps to go. Ryan Johnson has 7.3 seconds. He's running at about a quarter of a second per lap faster than me. Mathematically, that's not going to be enough. But at the same time, if I'm battling lap traffic, he's going to have time.
I mean, anything can happen to it. He smacks the wall, lap car in front of him messes up, misses his mark. Anything can happen. Slow him up, and that will allow Ryan Johnson to move forward.
As we're actually watching Ryan Johnson, get a little squirrely there, trying to get around the 89 of Dustin Shepard. Gets it done, and it looks like we have one of our last takers on pit road. Josh Nelms went in on an early stop, is not able to make it to the end, so he's gonna have to go in that 01. But the big question is, as we are on, we have 11 laps left, and our race leader is under pressure from lapped cars, but with only about 6.5 seconds of space left.
Will this strategy work out? That's the biggest thing right now. Mike Alexander pitted in lap 50 something, and it has been trying to save fuel here. We got 9 laps to go. Will his fuel manage to last this far? Will he be able to continue to smooth sail it here and get through these lap traffics, who are also fighting for position, and win the first race he's in by an awesome fuel strategy?
And a little bit of luck, because at this point you could never guarantee that it was going to go green at that point. But just watching a little bit of battles right here. This is the battle for 7th as we get back here to watch the 47 get around the 11 and now sail away. These two slightly varying pit strategies, only about 3 laps between them. But as we hit 5 laps to go, there's our leader just coming into fray.
Mike Alexander's coming up right here. He's right behind Brian Hacker, about a second or so back from him. And Ryan Johnson's closed the gap. He's dropped it down to 4.3 seconds, but we got 4 laps to go. If Mike Alexander has a smooth sailing here, hits all of his marks, and the fuel lasts, he'll be the race winner.
I definitely think that is going to be the situation, because that's somewhat insurmountable, especially as Mr. Ryan Johnson crosses the line with 2 to go. The tires have leveled out, traffic's playing its role, and our leader as crosses the line to take the white flag. It's smooth sailing. He's not coming up on any lap traffic. The lap traffic that he is around has decided to go ahead and take it and take the position, and the 75 of Mike Alexander wins his inaugural race with the North-South Racing League. Ryan Johnson has taken second, and Randy Nichols has finished in third.
And not to count out Dante Curtis. Dante Curtis was able to get by him there and later in the stage, get his lap back. He ran Randy Nichols down and was within him, like, I say 4/10 of Randy Nichols.
Second.
So Dante Curtis was a man on a mission there. Just couldn't make it up to get in that podium spot.
And he was getting there. But right now, our winner on the night, Mike Alexander. Second is Ryan Johnson. Third, Randy Nichols. Fourth, Dante Curtis. Fifth, Dustin Shepard. Sixth, Gary Eschen. Seventh, Mike Huntoon. Eighth, Brian Hacker. Ninth, Will Eastman. 10th, Adam Gable. 11th, Gage Killam. 12th, Josh Nelms.
13th will be Matt Cook. 14th will be Matt Dula. 15th will be Travis Hoffler. 16th will be Jeff Mathis. 17th will be Shane Loveridge. 18th will be Matt Pelletier. 19th will be Adam number 2. We're going to have to get with him to get his name. I don't want to butcher it. So 20th will be Robbie Clavey. 21st will be Jesse Womack. 22nd will be Dan Jannon. 23rd is Jeff Bergender. And 24th is Justin Rigsby.
All right. Let's go ahead and hear from our race winner, which is muted right now, so can't exactly do that. So we're going to go ahead and go with second. And you know what? Go ahead and grab the perennial conversationalist, Mr. Ryan Johnson. How are you doing tonight? Oh, hold on. I think I screwed up my settings somehow. Because why not? There we go. Maybe? Hopefully? No? Why is this?
So maybe me and you are just talking right
No,
now, Ryan.
no, I got it. Got to click
Hello?
apply.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, guys.
We had to bring you up first because, yeah, our race winner muted, and you know what? We're used to talking to you.
That's fair. As far as the strategy goes, I heard your question. Yeah, that last caution that we had, I was contemplating pitting. It was right on the edge of the pit window, and I'm pretty sure he ran out right after he took the checkered. So, yeah, I mean, I contemplated it, but I didn't want to try it. I didn't want to lose all that track position. We were already up in the front, and I knew the back was going to be a little dangerous. So I was just like, well, I'll try and run it out. And yeah, he had it right. Congrats to him. It's a good welcome to the league kind of thing, huh?
Yeah. Kind of show up and it's your first win.
All right.
But hey, man, you did a dominating race up until that point until you had to surrender to lead the pit. I mean, so what was the track like for you? Like you were able to run up front. You had Dustin Shepard though in rearview mirror quite a bit there throughout that whole entire green flag run that we had.
Yeah, I just bought the track yesterday before practice, and I ran a bunch of practice trying to figure out what the hell the line was going to be and how to run it. And during the day, it seemed like if you were running it kind of hard, that you were going to burn the right rear off. So I was trying to save the right rear throughout the most of the race, and it seemed like we were able to do that even by running hard. By running easy, it almost didn't even seem to change how the car felt that night. But yeah, Dustin was right there, but it's so hard to pass. You got to get the car in front of you's got to screw up. It seemed to be about the only way you're going to be able to get around somebody.
Yeah, it's one of those things that certain cars it's a little easier. I was kind of thinking that it may be a little bit easier with the street stocks, but then you also have to remember that it's a relatively low horsepower to where
Yeah, it's all momentum based on these things, and if you lose your momentum, it sucks.
Yeah, but we get double points tonight. You get yourself a second place. It's not the best start you can have to the season, but it's still a darn good one.
Yeah, definitely. I was a little worried about how the race was going to go, so I just kind of wanted to come away with at the very least like a top 5 or something. But yeah, I mean, second place, I'll take that. I mean, I'll take that all season long. That's I like it. It's the way I like to do it.
All right, not that we don't like talking to you, but we really do have to chat with a race winner because I'm wondering if this is going to be a regular occurrence, but We know you will be, so great run to start off the season, and looking forward to chatting with you more and seeing you more out on track.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Congrats to the winner tonight.
All right,
That
man.
was
Have a
only
good one.
slightly sarcastic.
No, it's not sarcastic. I'm serious. It was a good strategy.
All right.
Later, guys.
Thank you, sir.
User left your channel.
All right, time to go ahead and bring up
User was
our
moved to your
race
channel.
winner, Mr. Mike Alexander. How are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
It's this is one way to introduce yourself to the league.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I definitely didn't expect to pick up a win tonight, but I will most certainly take it.
I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna be turning up. No, it's cool. You know, I'll take the 10th place. It sounds better. You know.
So
Yeah, no.
this is your first time up here. Just give us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I race over with guys from upstate, Al and Brian and them guys, and Brian had mentioned that he had this good street stock league to come run, and he told me about it, I don't know, probably a month ago. I figured I'd give her a try, and it seemed like a really good league. Like, in all honesty, for how small this track is and how hectic it is, the fact that there was, I don't know, there wasn't many yellows. I don't think there was any 5, and that's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, so far, you know, this is our second season here with these guys, starting out, and I mean, last season was a blast. I mean, these guys are competitive. Like everybody from start to finish is a threat every week. So you know, it's a great league to broadcast for, and you know, we sometimes wish we were the ones out there in the car racing, but you know, we also love having been up here in the booth, so we get to see people like you come in here and make your name for yourself the first race out.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I mean, I'm just looking for you know, good clean racing, and I like to consider myself like an old school clean racer. I don't you know, I won't put the bumper to anybody unless they got it coming, and you know, just wanted to find a good place to run. The upstate is a great place too, but I just wanted to find another place to run that guys, and this league seems pretty good.
If you want a lot of good racing, this is a great league. These guys are masters of car control, and like you said, occasionally somebody may get a little nudge here and there, but it's short track racing.
Oh, absolutely. You know, sometimes it's not, but for the most part, you know, if I'm running second and I can't get around a guy without putting the bumper to him, then I'm just going to finish second that night because it's not my night. I'm old school that way, but that's just the way I like to race.
Yeah, tremendous. But hey, congratulations. You got anybody to shout out to here for your wonderful teammates or anybody else that you want to shout out to for your while you're here?
Just give a shout out to Brian Hacker for inviting me to the league. Yeah, I guess we'll kind of be like a teammates for this season. Try that out. But I'll thank you guys for doing this broadcast. I'd like to watch that. I'll watch that tomorrow, and yeah, see how it went. And thanks to all the guys that put this on.
All right. Again, thanks for giving us a good show, and we look forward to seeing what you have for us come next week.
A lot. Thanks a lot.
All right. Onward to the final of our interviews for the night. Somebody whose number doesn't quite
User was
match.
moved to your channel.
Mr. Randy
User
Nichols.
was moved out of your channel.
Yes, sir. How's it going, guys?
It was a great run from you tonight. You got to be one of the only people that we got to see make a great move running on the outside.
Yeah, I felt like starting on the outside or on the restarts, I could kind of arc it off of the corner a little bit right when the leader went to kind of give myself a good rundown into turn one. But it seemed like you had a little bit of grip on the outside, so you could kind of have a little bit more speed off the corners. But definitely wasn't preferred to stay there the entire time.
I
I
mean,
got you, man. You look like you love the outside wall though, too, a little bit too much throughout the race there, man. Your crew couldn't beat the sheet metal out during the pit stop good enough.
Just trying to like move that wall out like 1 inch at a time to give myself a little more room. That's all it was.
it's one of the advantages of the safer barriers is they do just kind of slowly nudge themselves out over the course of a race.
Yeah, you
Well,
gotta.
that's what we
gotta,
hope.
Gotta pick the styrofoam in a little bit, and you'll be good.
I mean, you weren't the only ones. There's other people out there trying to help you out too. So
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing with this track. I mean, with coming off of the corners and the walls pretty much curved all the way down to the next corner. I'm not going to say you kind of lose your sense of how far out you are from the wall, but it kind of comes up on you pretty quick.
Yeah, I can't avoid the walls to where my car would have looked exactly like yours. So there's
I think
no
mine did after like 4
judgment.
laps.
Yeah, this track is it's difficult. I mean, we were all talking in our After Dark channel that we were all sweating after that race, and we're trying to figure out how. But I mean, you really got to drive the hell out of the car at this track. It's not easy.
Yeah, you have to be on point every single lap. I mean, and the corners come at you really fast. There's really no downtime, and that's why you're sweating because there's no straightaway for you. Like, all right, cool, let's just draft here for 4 or 5 seconds, kind of regain. All right, next corner. Nope, it's like, all right, and corner, and corner, and corner. So you guys were wheeling and dealing it tonight, man.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up being a lot of fun. I really thought going into this race, I was like, man, 200 laps at this track is just going to be a snoozer, and it ended up being a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
It is one of those kinds of tracks to where, we're talking about a tiny track to where you're pretty much thinking that, yeah, we're going to be cautioned the entire night. But at the exact same time, there's a whole lot of racing to be done. We got to see a lot of interesting strategy calls to where you were one of the first takers.
Yeah, I kind of used the F1 strategy of seeing the lap traffic ahead, and decided to kind of duck down a little bit early and hope that it put me in some clean traffic and make up a little bit of time, which it did. And I'm just glad that I was able to come home with the top 3.
No, it's a great way to start the season, especially when we're talking double points. So this is worth 2 third places.
Oh, hell yeah, I didn't even know that. I just showed up to race.
That's sometimes my mentality. You just show up and oh crap! All right, well let's figure this out later.
Yeah, just
Find out some good
buckle up,
stuff.
hold on tight, and see what you can do. Turn left.
I got you, man. Hey, but like I said, congratulations! You got 3rd place here. Great strategy there, undercutting and everything, and you come home 3rd for the first race of the season, man. We can't wait to see what you got going on for the rest of the year, man.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
User left your channel.
All right. That is going to do it for us here at Ghostfire Media for the night. Make sure and catch us on Wednesday nights for the Sim 500 Truck Series with Randy and Nick. Make sure and catch us next Monday night for more street stock action with the North-South Racing League. I can't let the night go away without definitely thanking the sponsors of the North-South Racing League, J&G Hardwood Flooring, 5 Star Realty Group, and Kelly's Custom Engraving. So that's going to do it for us here at Ghostfire Media. I'm Josh Laston. That's Adam Wood. And have yourselves a great evening.
Thank you for watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.